This time around, he's happy to go aggressive when he needs to, but also happy to play back. We were talking the difference how Cool versus you play Cassiopeia as well. One very much happy to peel in you. Waits till he gets ganked, turns those around. Cool, much more flashy in the mid lane. And I honestly think that as far as solid mid laners go, Snake made the best choice bringing this guy into their lineup.
They did, I think, as well, taking him off the EDG sub-roster, moving him into their lineup, and Snake, not quite the success they saw at the start of spring, but looking really good. And this is going to be a very close best of two, I think, no matter what happens. But we are into the draft now, and LeBlanc is actually the first ban.
Yeah, so taking that one away from you. I said that his LeBlanc play wasn't looking the best, but obviously he's picked it up multiple times, and sometimes you just don't want to run a certain comp into a assassin, and maybe they're looking for the Vayne once again, and they don't want it to get soloed out.
Maybe. I mean, sometimes you just don't want to play against LeBlanc as well. So is Alistar going to be a very smart ban there from Snake, denying that away from Amazing.
Yeah, so Alistar, I said that they could maybe Janna it, but Alistar at the moment is just so much free tank stats in the mid game. It's not even really what he does in lane, it's just the fact that he's a huge tanky guy in the middle of the game, and you don't want to have to burn important cooldowns on him, so just get him off the board.
Because he respected there as well on the top side. Hecarim banned away from Flandre, despite the fact that Xiang's played it quite a number of times there as well. So OMG really singling people out with their bans, and a Sivir ban on blue side as their final one.
Yeah, that's weird, because in the LPL we see that teams like to pick Sivir as their first pick. It unlocks a lot of top lane bans, and getting rid of the Hecarim and the Sivir means a lot of the hard engaged, a lot of anti-carry that can come out of Snake's top laner especially, won't be available.
And Uzi going to be on something quite different. Crystal as well, you saw in that match history, lots of Sivir when he has been playing. Kalista, of course, the second man there from Snake, away from Uzi, who at this point looks like he's almost never going to get to see the champion again. Azir, the final ban there for Snake, does leave open that potential first pick, Cassiopeia.
Yeah, so that's the one that really stands out to me. Cassiopeia or Gragas are the two picks that you have to take a long look at right now if you're OMG, especially for... Wow, going potentially with a Maokai pick away. That is from Flandre, and with Gnar still available, I think that they could get a similar power pick in a different lane with leaving both up.
I mean, Maokai's just so solid that I guess it makes sense why you want to take it. I think it's actually good against Cassio as well. So as far as solid first picks goes, maybe not on power quite there, but I think a very solid, very flexible first pick at least.
Yeah, it certainly is. And you know, Maokai, he's consistent throughout the game. So like, when Gnar is looking for windows and transformations, Maokai just always, with his ult up especially, does the exact same thing. And over on Snake's lineup, wouldn't be surprised to see that they would pick up Gragas for Beast, because that is by far Juejue's best jungler coming into this, and Beast plays it extremely well as well.
He does. Big on the high pressure, loves to invade and get in people's faces. Elo actually going to get the Nautilus there by the looks of things, although if any team's going to put it somewhere else, it's probably a team like Snake. But Nautilus, Gragas, good CC, and very tanky members to start things off.
Yeah, and they have both engage and disengage in their kit. They're able to kite back extremely well, and that's Amazing's champion pool gone, by the way. Nautilus and Alistar both off the board right now. Amazing. We're going to see him on something a little bit newer coming through there, and I want to see what he goes with. And wow, that's a Corki lock-in.
Yeah, completely locked in. I mean, could be a mid laner, don't forget, but likely Uzi's champion. Rek'Sai there picked up as well for OMG, so very specific bans. I think the Hecarim ban leads to that first pick Maokai, but maybe that Sivir ban leads to Corki here. OMG have a very specific plan in mind.
Yeah, they certainly look like they're going for something mid-game focused here. They've got very good one-item spikes on a lot of their champions so far, so maybe looking for a fast push or just trying to get control of the dragon early and knock them down. And we see right now that Crystal, he's hovering his Draven. This is what he tried to make Draven work with a lot against the burst damage of Corki. The consistent damage that can come out is very good. Tristana, she had some burst damage of her own, though.
I mean, she does, and it's one of Crystal's favorite champions here. I think, oh my god, they are flexing it, it feels like. Yasuo and Tristana, the responses there for Snake. I think this is so clever, because either way with that Corki on the board, it's good in both those matchups.
Yeah, it certainly is coming through there. The other thing we have to look at Yasuo is top lane, because we've seen a lot of top lane Yasuo come out in different reasons. And if you grab the Barmy Cinder or a Giant Spell as your first item, Maokai can't bully you out of lane after that. You go straight into your Static Shiv, your huge offensive items can come through afterwards, and Yasuo is someone that you do have to pay attention to as a legit carry. And
with Gragas and Nautilus already in the lineup, even Tristana's ultimate, he has so much already to build him up. So I like to pick a lot there from Snake, but OMG, they're pretty much done. Amazing is going to go back to Thresh. That's a strong default pick. And Cassiopeia there for Cool, so they managed to get Cassiopeia last. Lines up fairly well against whatever's going to happen, even if Snake are going to pick away a mid laner here. You said it already, mid-game power for OMG. That's exactly what they've got.
And this is the combo. This is why everyone tried to make Yasuo work everywhere else that wasn't middle lane for so long, because Orianna was huge when he first came into the meta, and the Orianna-Yasuo combo is something that you really have to watch out for, because that shockwave coupled with the last breath is just absurd amount of damage in the mid game when you only have a couple of items, and that's what they've gone for. So Flandre, we said he's going towards more farm-oriented, more of a carry champion. He's taken an assassin into the top lane against a pure tank. That is going to be extremely entertaining to watch.
I mean, I like the Hecarim ban against Maokai because Hecarim just wants farm, and to get to carry mode, to get to bruiser mode in the late game, they ban it away, so that can't happen. And who better to secure some free farm than a champion like Yasuo?
Yeah, exactly right. So coming into the lineups here, we see that Xiyang, he took away the Maokai, but Flandre, in response, grabs the assassin.
Strong pickup here. We're starting to see lots of good picks coming through against the Maokai specifically. Classic jungle matchup here as well. Lots of pressure and aggression. Beast, especially if he can get going or look good. And this is a nice throwback as well. Cools Cassio versus Yu's Orianna.
Yeah, and we said we were waiting for you to go more supportive. Orianna, perfect champion for that. As we see Crystal, he's grabbed the mid game now, Tristana against Corki. I haven't seen that matchup in a long time, and I want to see whether, with the Nautilus and Thresh down there, they pretty much equal each other out, whether Tristana can get ahead.
I mean, pretty bloodthirsty in general in that matchup. You have to think with players like Uzi, like Crystal, there's going to be a lot of action and a lot of blood spilt in that lane.
Yeah, you certainly think so. And the one thing that I think that Tristana will do better is shove out the lane, because Uzi, he's not going to want to waste mana on pushing out those creeps with the phosphorus bombs, especially early. He wants to trade with it and try and get some sort of advantage. So look for the Tristana to just repetitively try and shove out.
Well, it's a fun first matchup. Let's get on to the Rift. And as we do start off with a pause, welcome back to week 3 of the LPL here, but don't let the pause fool you. Already just in this draft, these two teams have got something very exciting on the table.
Yeah, they certainly do, and you know, there's just so much synergy coming through from the Snake lineup right now. They've got so many knockups. Every single player has a way to get Yasuo into the fight and really make it work.
Okay, cool there. Waving at the camera, smiling, sort of back to his old self with the recent performances. But I have to say, that hair week after week is getting out of control, Spawn.
That is the disheveled look if I've ever seen it. Like, he looks like he legitimately rolled out of bed and fell at a computer.
He was unkempt in week 2. I think he's upgraded to disheveled, slowly climbing off, demoting between ranks of the hair there. Not too sure how cool feels about it, but his play certainly has been the complete opposite. Wonderful to watch.
Yeah, it certainly has. Picking up Cassiopeia here, we said that he's extremely aggressive on the champion, looks to get in people's face and bully around in the laning phase. Against Orianna, he has some windows when the dissonance is on cooldown to really try and get up there and bully.
It's a really interesting matchup as far as mid lane matchups go, because, I mean, like a lot of these, you know, utility or more sustained damage mid laners that don't have gap closers or dashes, positioning is so important, and that's even more important with champions like Cassiopeia and Orianna.
Yeah, well, the thing about Orianna is you expect so much impact out of her ultimate, but you can flash it really easily. So if he ever is in a spot where he has all summoners available versus all summoners available, you would give it to the Cassiopeia. In saying that, as soon as Orianna has a summoner spell advantage in the matchup, I completely agree with it. Very easy to shut it down.
And then even kind of add to that matchup as well, lots of early jungle pressure can also come through. So mid lane's definitely a place where I would expect a team like Snake to maybe look and shock cooldown, because he has been so good, especially on Cassio. But let's just go to the top lane for a second and indulge ourselves. We talked about Flandre. He was supposed to come in last season as one of the best carry top laners in China, or maybe to ever play as far as his reputation went. Finally, actually on a hard carry in Yasuo.
Yeah, exactly right. We saw him play Morgana and Maokai last season, a little bit of Rumble, but coming through on Yasuo this time, we've seen the likes of Someday, Impact, these players around the world picking this champion up, and it makes a lot of sense with all the knockups coming through in the support and jungle positions, really facilitates it. Not to mention the fact that if you're going to pick someone that is just a negative lane, neutralize the lane, Yasuo does really well against these champions, and I was waiting for it forever because Varus is coming through. Like, we had a whole stint of Ezreal in the mid lane. Yasuo does really well against AD carries and is a very squishy champion. So if he gets on to the Cassiopeia, if he gets onto the Corki, he's going to tear him apart.
And that's why I liked it when they showed Corki early in the draft, is because what's Corki supposed to do? They can go mid if Corki's mid and just match it. Or if he's in the bottom lane, sure, put him somewhere else. You get to flex him now on the top side of the map. every single one of Corki's damage, except for Gatling Gun, I think, is just completely shut out by Windwall.
Yeah, exactly right. And it really stops all the siege potential that can come through as well early because it's just such a good cooldown.
It does indeed, but we'll see how Snake want to play it out. A very fun draft to kick off our first game of the week here, and it's two great teams as well. OMG taking on Snake for game number 1 of our best of 2.
Yeah, and you see already Crystal trying to head down into that bottom lane, get some vision. Uzi, they were spotted out.
Yeah, they can actually see some people now. Amazing might skill up the hook and go in for some aggression, but instead pinging on towards the Gromp. It seems like they want to get some vision, but you might have actually cut off Amazing here. Gets the ward down though. Cool's going to make sure Yu's zoned out. In fact, just a bit of damage coming through. Good poison there for Cools. He gets a little bit of harass down, but again, just vision being traded back and forth.
Yeah, so not really much gain, just a deep ward on the Gromp to see where the Gragas wants to start off his jungle. Gragas really versatile because he's one of the few junglers that gets AoE for free, wants to take the cask anyway. So going to be able to start wherever he wants here. As Flandre, he's picking out some wraiths for himself. Maybe he wants to start there.
I mean, Yasuo, especially with the changes to his flow and the shield early on, does jungle a little bit better. So now, finally, from the top lane, you can actually reasonably take a camp for yourself as well.
Yeah, you certainly can. And, you know, there was a certain color caster that liked to try and say that Yasuo was a really good jungler after the changes. I'm not sure I'm sold it to that extent, but he certainly does it a lot better.
I think for one camp, he'll at least be fine. As Flandre and Beast actually maybe fancy a bit of a late invade. They're walking over to it. They have been spotted by a ward, though, but Shui Shui is going to back away. In fact, Snake are lane swapping.
Yeah, everyone is heading down into that jungle area, and the lane swap does come through. Uzi's going to get the freeze, and they will steal away the blue.
And this was the other point that I wanted to make. I thought we were going to see standard lanes, but man, is Yasuo also good in the lane swap.
Yeah, he's really good at negating pressure on turrets especially. Doesn't have any CC, so he is okay to dive if you can get rid of his flow passive, but otherwise I completely agree with you. He does fine at farming on semi-range with the spammable Q, and he just also adds a lot of kill pressure if your jungler ever comes down.
Yeah, and you can see double jungling with Beast, not going to be all that quick, but Maokai as well, started on his camp. You can see the wolves that they tried to take were already picked up there by OMG, but we're going to jungle vertically now. It seems like Crystal maybe just wants to get away from the Corki early on.
Yeah, so doesn't want to have to go into a shoving battle, doesn't need to trade there, so he's just going to try and stack up the wave. You would expect this to turn into a fast push eventually. It normally does with the Tristana, but at the start of the game, just going to pick up as much valuable CS as he can.
Yep, stack up that third wave, get some turret pressure down as OMG. Move on to the blue buff now for themselves. That'll go over to them, but you can see the blue's already been picked up by Snake. They're going to their red now, so we've split the map in half, and that leads us to another wonderful point. We've isolated what's already an exciting mid lane matchup.
Yeah, exactly right, and this will just be in Oriana's favor because she will shove extremely well against what is a single target Cassiopeia early in the game. Just be able to move around that ball. Getting a little bit zoned now as the lane does reverse, but you not losing anything whatsoever. And they've turned it into a fast push already in the top lane. Tristana shoved that wave hard.
Yeah, you can see Corki pretty aggressively deep in the bottom side as well there, but OMG onto the Dragon makes sense. I've got control of this side of the map. Crystal and Ella, though, doing the fast push that you described. So we'll trade a couple of objectives early on. Snake, of course, need to stick on the top side of the map to begin with, but OMG going to get the first little advantage as they take away Dragon number 1.
Yeah, so they're going to be able to pick that up. You see whether they're going to cut the wave in the top side of the map as they get a deep ward down. Mid lane, you're starting to get maybe a little bit bullied by Cool here. Misses out on some CS as he's zoned by some poison, but they're sending Ella in there to try and get a gank.
I don't think I've ever seen a champion quite have as many ups and downs in lane, apart from maybe Rumble. And Cassiopeia, just a very level-dependent champion.
Yeah, it certainly is. Comes through, has some different peaks and troughs as depending on whether you have levels, depending how much poison you land as well, to get some evolutions in. Build path is a huge thing. We're seeing a lot of Abyssal Scepter coming through after the Tear of the Goddess as well. So, agree. She has some different power spikes depending on what you want to do exactly with her, but is incredibly strong in the current meta.
You can see Snake going to have to fast push it now instead. I like the little ward that they've got there to spot people coming through, but Xiang, very smart. It's not even going to walk around. In fact, using saplings to try and get a bit of additional vision. Gromp will go to Beast, but Snake will move up to the top side, be able to take it out by the looks of things. And Uzi holding wave a little bit, but again, both of these towers on the opposite sides of the map should be falling relatively quickly.
Yeah, they've actually pinged out Xiang here, so they will be in wait if he does come up there. He's only level 2. And as soon as they walk aggressively, you see that he's really smart in backing away there.
Yep, Xiang's playing very safe. Amazing's even coming through to join as well. So if they go aggressive, a Lantern's available to try and take it out. He knows the Gromp is gone. He's probably suspecting Snake to be here. Tower falls in bottom lane, will now fall in top side as well. And it's a very curious first 5 minutes of the game.
Yeah, and both waves won't bounce back, so they have to stick around and shove here. Only Uzi in the bottom side of the map, so he's not going to have that luxury. But overall, an equal trade comes through here, and everything kind of worked itself out.
Yeah, I mean, OMG actually maybe thinking about getting aggressive. Tornado goes just wide there as they zone them out with a couple barrels, but instead just coming up to make sure Xiang secures some of that farm and will now reset. Uzi's actually going mid lane, maybe? He's gone back and got a fade, so a little bit stronger now, but level 5 especially, going to do a lot of work in this early game.
Yeah, and you would think that they would send Uzi back bottom because there's a good freeze up here for Xiang, and now all of a sudden Flandre, he's going to be overextending for farm if he wants any of it. Dragon is already off the map, so OMG actually come off the back end of that trade, even though Xiang is currently behind. Fairly good if he can hold the wave off the turret.
And you can see doing a nice job. OMG have set up nicely after that turret trade is amazing. Moving through the jungle as well. Going to try and get some wards down and see what he can see. But Crystal's coming back down to the bottom lane. Flandre is jungling, by the way. So he doesn't want anything to do with that very long extended lane.
Yeah, he just can't get anywhere near it right now. And you know, Crystal, he's overextended with Alla as well. So on both ends of the map, it looks like OMG came out ahead just because of wave control on both sides.
And that's good early game. I mean, we've seen both these teams play a lot of standard lanes recently, so nice to see them navigate this as Ella gets knocked up after the flay. Now a hook landing in for amazing. Uzi coming through as well. The damage is there. Nautilus going to look to go down, and Uzi gets first blood.
Yeah, and we just mentioned it. Uzi, he had a lot of solo experience, and so he was level 5, but it was just a wave positioning. They could have chased forever, even though there was burst damage. No support was coming in for Snake, and OMG, they pick up a really clean first kill.
And it's been clean all game long here for the first 7 minutes for both sides, but especially for OMG. So about 800 gold up now for OMG. You actually taking a bit of harassers. Cool, good ulti going to come in, try and get the kill. Flashes forward, shockwaves down, but Cool is not going to take the last turret hit. Will get the 1v1.
Yeah, so able to get it through the aggressive player some more in the bottom.
You can see Amazing's only level 3. Uzi's coming now to turn around the damage. Good flay, though. Going to keep them away. Uzi diving in. That's a bit too aggressive. Nautilus coming back down as well. Lantern is there. Uzi grabs him and he gets hooked out of it by Ella. Shui coming down. He's onto Beast. He will get the kill, but Crystal's got a kite around. Gets the jump. Nautilus with the double. Xiang's come down as well. Amazing gets charged onto, but now Crystal's going to get locked up. Xiang's going to get the trade kill, and it's absolute chaos in the bottom lane.
Yeah, everyone trading through there, and you mentioned the fact that Nautilus was able to get their kills. That's so bad coming through for Snake. Would have been worth it if Tristana picked them both up. In the end, goes over to the support player. Fantastic teleport coming through from Xiang. And once again, they're just playing this bottom lane because of wave positioning so well.
They are, and you can see Flandre sort of taking the time amongst all the chaos to shove out as best he can. Has 3 points in Sweeping Blade already, so he'll get surprisingly fast pushes out of Yasuo.
Yeah, certainly will coming through there. We didn't really hit on the fact that the 1v1 came through from Cool, and I like that it was in the exact fashion that we said it would be, flashing aggressively forward, making sure that his presence is felt on this Cassiopeia. Nearly already got his Archangel stacking up there, and he's at a fantastic point in this game just because of the isolation that came through from the early lane swap.
Yeah, but I think we're going to learn a lot more about Orianna Cassio as a matchup, because we've seen it a couple of times in the LPL, but still have a lot to learn about it. And it seems to me the Cassiopeia players, at least early on, are getting the upper hand in the matchup.
Yeah, it certainly appears to be the case. You have to have a look at how the itemization came through from you as well, electing to go for the Codex and some CDR over the Chalice early on, so we won't have much help coming through there through the magic resistance. And that was just Cassio really understanding when he could flash based on where the ball was. You had to pull it back before shockwaving and just couldn't get the damage down under turret.
And it's been that calculated aggression that's really impressed me from Cool recently. So nice to see you still here as we move into week 3 of the LPL. As you mentioned, itemization looking good. It's had the tier for a while, so stacking it up as both mid laners also get their blue buff. We look up to the top side. Xiang's got double Durans and a Catalyst, and Flandre had his Avarice Blade since that early jungle follow, and I'll get that Ruby Crystal for the potential Balmy Cinder.
Yeah, so I want to see whether he goes Balmy Cinder or he goes for something like just a Giant's Belt. You kind of need one defensive item just because his base HP is
real bad.
I want to say non-existent nearly.
Yeah.
He's one of the few champions that you either have to go triple blade, like Doran's blade I'm talking about, or a health item right now, because otherwise in the top lane, base stats just wreck you.
Yeah, not enough there as OMG actually going to pull out their second dragon. Flandre with the teleport and level 6 can come in now as well. They set up a couple knockups that might be alright, but they have to go quickly. A good wards there for Snake, but OMG, too much neutral damage.
Yeah, just able to get it done, and you know, they peak earlier right now. They've got the Maokai who does more at this point of the game than the Yasuo. They've also got the Cassiopeia for burning through with the early advantage. So smart call from Snake there to just let it go. It's only the second dragon. probably don't need a fight until number 3.
And I looked down and smile, Spawn. I was looking over at the jungler, saw the Cinder there for Beast, moving for that Cinderhawk. But I look at Shui Shui and I finally see a Warrior Rek'Sai in the Cinderhawk meta.
Yeah, and it's because they know they're stronger right now. So why not continue to try and bully? You can still go pure tank after that, but for the next 4 minutes, he's going to be incredibly strong.
Cool, they get slowed by the barrel, but that shockwave, you could just hear it. That was you missing that as 4 people, I believe, tried to gank onto Cool. At least 3 of them as he's going to clear that wave instead. Amazing going to come through as Flandre is moving in onto Amazing. Rek'Sai's coming down as well. Amazing going to be the first to fall. No! Still alive as Shui Shui is into defend. Flandre far too low, gets taken out by Uzi, and now the Rek'Sai is going to come through. Ella going to get low, but U's rotated down. Crystal though flashes forward to get the kill onto the jungler, and it's a 1-4 on Trig with some dangerously low health bars.
Yeah, but the teleport came through. They finally got the kill onto Crystal, which is what they've been trying to force for so long. Get that AD carry going. He's got a red buff, but meanwhile, Xiang, he's picked himself up a CS advantage and he's shoving in that turret.
Yeah, finally get some free time. So going to pick himself up a bit more farm as you see Flandre with the Giant Spell. Not the Cinder for a bit more pushing power, but plenty of flat health. And you can see in that last change, he kind of needed it as Beast is in the top side. Doesn't go aggressive onto Xiang though, just going to clear out the wave.
Yeah, so you see Beast is very low on mana, so he needs to be careful as Cool. He's making a move up in the top lane. This is a potential dive waiting to happen.
Good sweep there as well, actually. Now knows he's in undetected up to this point. Will sit on a ward now, so not going to have the element of surprise that he might have wanted. But no one really in the area just yet here as OMG going to hang out in the brush.
Yeah, third person going up top as well in the form of Amazing. Now they get the sweep in, so they realize their plan has been foiled. But, you know, nothing really else on the map up for grabs. So just an aggressive move coming through there. Doesn't work out, but not really much lost.
No, I mean, Flandre returning. Has to just kind of sit and farm. Has a Brawler's Glove now, but will need a while to get going. Like you mentioned, OMG, just in general, peak earlier than Snake.
Yeah, they certainly do. And Flandre, he's forced into the really aggressive build you feel right now, because if he doesn't get going, his team's in a lot of trouble. So I would be surprised if he actually went any lifesteal. I think he needs to go Static Shiv into Infinity Edge if he's going to have the impact in the mid game he wants.
And that's the other nice thing about going Giant's Belt is that you have a little more wiggle room, because you said you need a defensive item. In the mid lane, if you still play it there, you tend to just build a normal lifesteal item, but that delays your IE. In the top lane, get your cost-efficient health. That helps in the lane anyway, and then just you've got effectively your defensive item, so you can go straight IE.
Yeah, exactly right. So that's, yeah, pretty much how it works out coming through there. I still, even when I see mid lane Yasuo's at the moment, more often than not, they do go a health item right now, just because like you look at the likes of Cassiopeia, Azir, the current mid laners have ridiculous amounts of base damage as well. So it's just something that you need to combat everything that's coming through. In the current meta, a lot of free stats are what you're looking for, like the mana pools, the regens coming through, the crits on Yasuo, but the high base stats are what making things very viable. Even Maokai, he's got surprisingly high base damage on all of his abilities coming through. As we see a 3-man push in the top lane, and Crystal trying to respond in kind, but that wave being cleared out much quicker than what the top lane was.
Yeah, there's too many people in the top for OMG. So Uzi with a nice rotation actually already has his Trinity Force as well at 2-1-1 with a mountain of CS. So these rotations, we saw them a lot from EDG in spring. Get that Corki into lanes, push down the turrets, and Crystal, he's trying to answer back.
Yeah, he's trying, but Cassio's on the way down. Rek'Sai's there. He's probably going to die.
Switch here as well. Beast with an ulti maybe to peel them away, but Cassio's there. The sapling isn't going to quite get the slow by the looks of things. Cool flashes in, good ultis to disengage, and Beast will just be safe from Cool.
Yeah, but so much expendi coming through there from the Snake lineup. Both, wow.
Oh, you gets hooked though. Amazing rides in. Uzi's going to find a kill. Shockwave lands in. They're going to try and get it in. The depth charge not early enough. Amazing does get thrown back into the turret for a trade, but Uzi's racking up kills now. 3-1-1.
Yeah, but you got that kill, so you know, wow.
OMG though. Gonna get taken out as Crystal gonna get another kill. Beast though getting low. Looks to die to Cool. The poison is enough to take him out as Cool looking again, but now Flandre's joining the mix. Cool's gonna get locked down. Not gonna get taken out just yet. The charge might be enough from Crystal, but Uzi gonna come in. Ella takes out Cassio. Good flash from Uzi to dodge the tornado. Now Flandre is gonna get jumped on by Xiang. Crystal goes down to Uzi. Ella's gonna be the next one to fall as Uzi's racking them up.
Yeah, Uzi is absolutely racking them up and then systematically knocking them down. The champion prioritization coming through in that fight was on point from the OMG lineup. And Snake, they were just trying to kind of hit whoever was in front of them, disregarding damage dealt. And a couple of crits, a couple of Sheen procs came through, and in the end, the Corki just so much stronger when on one item than what the Tristana is going to be, and Uzi making him pay.
And that's our theme of this match, it seems like. OMG just stronger earlier on in this game, and they're using that power. We sort of noted last week that they look like the old OMG, getting some early power spikes, playing for aggressive mid-game, and then just relentlessly tower diving people with their ultimates. Okay, it's not quite the freight train just yet, but it's got a very similar feel to it.
Yeah, it certainly does, and you know, you have to, wow.
But the gank here is you. Gonna get played back there. Hooker there as well for amazing. Lines it up nicely. Xiong even comes in just to collect the kill. And OMG with 4 people in the mid lane. Gonna try and get a turret, although maybe gonna walk down to that Dragon coming up soon.
Yeah, Dragon will come up soon. They can just send Cassiopeia there realistically. She'll be able to chunk it out so quickly, and this turret in the mid lane going to be under fire, and they'll finish off the outer ring.
You can see those 2 carries as well for Snake. Crystal still trying to farm. He's got his IE. Flandre doing the same. He's not quite at Static Shiv yet. OMG will knock down this turret as amazing zones them away with a hook. Actually finds, that's a Raptor, never mind, not a champion, but tower goes down. The outer ring has failed, and Flandre pushing, but OMG now going to get onto this 3rd Dragon.
Yeah, so we said this is the one they probably needed to fight for. They've got the Static Shiv and some items, but in the end, they're just not nearly strong enough. So this will fall in OMG's favor. 3rd for the game. And overall, Snake, unless this goes extremely late and they can sneak a Dragon out there, might be running out of the window to try and claw to that late game.
I mean, they've got great wombo combo. They've got plenty of setup for Crystal and this Yasuo for Flandre. But you're right, it'll take time here. Already 4,500 gold behind OMG. Almost complete control of the objectives as well. I mean, it's what we expected from OMG when we have seen them win recently. It's just get a lead, get aggressive, and snowball through that mid-game.
Yeah, and you know, the play that's impressed me coming into this is Cool, because Cool's playing much more like his old self. He seems to have put the slump behind him, and the Cassiopeia pickup, he's been extremely aggressive, roamed around the map a couple of times, caught them bottom lane, then caught them out around the blue buff area, and this is how you like to see Cool play, being one of the huge carries for his team.
Honestly surprised Snake let him have it, especially with Azir being banned there as well. I mean, obviously not a consideration here, but he last picked it here in this draft for himself. It's been a strong champion for him as well. You have to think if Snake win or lose this game, to be honest, might look at it as a ban, because Cool, he's shown so much promise on this champion.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Cassiopeia is just at the moment emerging as consistently the best mid laner. Is it? Wow.
Yeah, Yu's coming in. Young's going to come down now as well. Ulti actually there onto Cool. Yu's going to try and make a trade, but Cool gets the kill instead. Ignite is down, but he's just going to be safe.
Yeah, so nothing going in Snake's favor. Yu tries to get some work done off the back end. He was flanked from all sides there, and this is what they needed to do earlier, because look at where the wards are currently for the OMG lineup. Every single point leading into the jungle is warded, and Snake need to start trying to wrestle back control of all of that vision.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to get picked off. That's the problem, right? Look at OMG's comp. It's all about getting picks in the mid-game, and when you have 3 towers down and deep visioning enemy jungle, that's exactly what you allow yourself to do.
Yeah, and, you know, Flandre, he's farming okay. He's getting towards some item spikes, but with that rough early game he went through with the lane swap, just not going to be this huge Yasuo in the mid-game. 0-2-2, pick not working out so far. So the dice they did roll doesn't seem to be that effective right now for Snake.
No, and I mean, Malco, as you said, the opposite here with Xiong has his righteous glory. That was all he needed for that last flank onto you there in the mid lane, as OMG trying to get some more vision, but Snake with some nice defensive pink wards there are going to try and wrestle some back here. And you can see there's about 6 people there towards that top side of the jungle, because they know the most important thing right now is keeping that vision up.
Yeah, exactly right. They're just trying to protect any wards they can buy, because right now when you are 5,000 gold behind, any vision that you lose is just, it hurts you so much more. And you can see OMG, they're just creeping the vision up further and further as time goes on. Uzi now nearly finishing up that Blade of the Ruined King is going to be incredibly strong, and Beast, you don't have any right to be there.
No, not at all, but he's going to try and smite it away. We'll dodge the buff there. As Uzi, I believe, actually got the red, so good transfer over there as well. Xiong now moving in with the rest of his team will clear out that pesky pink ward. Again, Snake trying to get that defensive vision down. Flandre is actually split pushing in the bottom side as well, but OMG, especially with this Corki, will just push that much faster.
Yeah, so they're just trying to shove out waves right now, OMG, and get as much gold as they can. Actually, probably advantage right now for Snake, because they need the gold more, and they're going in.
My God, Flandre wants to fight here. He's porting onto the tower. Beast needs to line up an ultimate, but can't quite find it. Does get the cast, but it's not quite enough. Beast going to get chased down. Xiong's in there as well. Finds the ulti onto Uzi Will Flandre, but he's far too squishy and goes down to Cool. Crystal caught there as well. Going to get chased by the damage and just escape, and that's 2 kills for OMG plus the turret.
I was going to say, if they trade 1 for 1, probably in Snake's favor, because they need to get gold, but deciding to fight afterwards is suicide. They're going to give up the Baron because, heck, there's a Cassiopeia on the other side and it's 20 minutes on the game. Why not take that objective away? And OMG looking fantastically strong.
Massive Baron damage right now. This is an early one as well, just after the 20-minute mark. Poor Baron's barely been here for 30 seconds and he's already dead.
Yeah, he's not even going to make the 30-second mark. 27-ish he'll go down. And wow, OMG looking so impressive this game.
8,000 gold ahead now as well. Uzi going for a heavy duelist, very mid-game centric build as well. Cool's going Death Cap second as well. Frozen Heart completed for Xiang. Giant's Belt there for Shui Shui to pairing with that Sightstone. Everyone's firing today.
Yeah, and this is what we said. One item, OMG, just so strong at this part of the game. Now they're moving towards 2 items before any are really done over on the side of Snake, and this just means that the more Snake try and fight with what should be when they're starting to nearly hit their stride, if it was a completely equal game, is not going to work because 8,000 gold is the advantage right now for OMG.
And this was the thing about Snake, even last season, to be honest, in spring. They're great team fighters. They play very well together, especially around Crystal. But when they got behind, they just struggled, even with their great team fighting, to catch back up. And now Beast being caught by Xiang, going to get snared up by the Twisted Advance. Shui Shui is going to get the knock-up in there as well. Amazing's coming just to make sure they get the kill. But Beast, he's forced to body slam and flash away. But the righteous score is going to mean Uzi will collect the kill there instead. By the looks of things, does get it for his 5th. And OMG going to shove down bottom.
And this is exactly why Snake struggled last season, because they have a huge on button and no off button at all. They were behind, they go for the jungle steal, lose another kill now with Baron buff, probably going to look to break the base.
Yeah, I mean, Flandre is going to look to trade for a turret in the top side, but I don't even know if he can get that down. Okay, we'll get a turret, but no teleport means Snake are very vulnerable. Xiang going to dive in. Yu's going to be the target. Gets popped by Uzi. Shui Shui dives onto Crystal. Uzi follow flashes for the kill. There's a double coming in. Ella going to be the 3rd almost in the traders. Beast is still dead from the last exchange. Base is broken. Flandre is back, but it's 2v5 right now.
Yeah, and it looks like they're going to stick around. Not really much burnt. Maybe even teleport back into the base with Xiang with some home guards, and OMG looking to close out at 23 minutes.
They want to finish the fight right now. Xiang is porting back as well onto a minion. Doesn't have home guard, but going to charge forward. They're going to try and dive Flandre, get the first knock-up. Amazing comes in. Flay comes through. Xiang finds him with a Twisted Advance, finishes the kill, and OMG have run over Snake in game number 1. The ulti not enough for Nautilus, but the game is over.
Yeah, it certainly looks to be the case. They're trying a last-ditch effort. No, they're not even doing that. Surrender vote comes through, and OMG in 23 minutes dismantle Snake.
And you can see that game much cleaner than Cool's hair, but a win's a win for OMG, and that was style.
Hey, his hair looks clean at least. It just is a little bit messy.
That's true. It is a little bit messy. It's rather messy. But again, his Casio proves to be very clean and very stylish. And